Bachelor in Paradise star shares grief over death of partner. July 29, 2025. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bachelor Nation News fans. Loss of a loved one is always difficult. One Bachelor in Paradise star is still mourning their lost love. They marked the anniversary of their longtime partner's passing and shared grief over the unspeakable loss. Bachelor in Paradise star shares grief over death of partner. April Kirkwood was a firecracker when she was on Jerry Turner's season of The Golden Bachelor. She went into the show hoping to find love again later in life, but didn't find a connection with Jerry. She returned for season 10 of Bachelor in Paradise. In a franchise first, the 10th season features Golden contestants and the younger stars from The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. In an interview in 2024 after Jerry's season, April opened up about her love life before the show. She said, "My first marriage lasted 18 months. I was in college. My second husband and I had 2 children together and divorced after 17 years of marriage. Most recently, I was dating Ralph for 20 years until his passing." The reality star admitted that she was very depressed after the loss of her partner, whom she referred to as her husband due to their long romance. In a vulnerable Instagram post, April Kirkwood honored Ralph on the anniversary of his passing. "Today is one of the most poignant days of my life. I lost my partner on July 28th, 4 years ago, at 7:15 p.m., she wrote in the caption of a photo of them together in happier times. "Thank you, God, for teaching me about grief and realizing there is no real death, but only separation of the physical self," she added about the heartbreaking loss. April's loss play a role in giving Jonathan a rose. In a shocking move, April, 67, gave her rose to Jonathan Johnson, 28, during a recent rose ceremony. Jonathan clarified that it was a friendly gesture. He said that he was ready to leave the show before April offered him her rose. When asked why she did it, April invoked her late partner. She said that Jonathan reminded her of Ralph, and she felt moved to help Jonathan stay on the beach to find love. Does she find love on Bachelor in Paradise? Warning, this section has spoilers for season 10 of Bachelor in Paradise. Stop reading now if you don't want to know. April Kirkwood and Jonathan Johnson have both said their relationship is as friends only. Does she find love with another contestant on Bachelor in Paradise? Despite flirting with several of the men on the show, April remains single. Reality Steve reported that none of the Golden contestants got engaged at the end of season 10. In fact, April Kirkwood is among the contestants leaving after the next rose ceremony. Hopefully, she will find love again after such a huge loss. Jared Lawson had once been the guy with the effortless smile. America had fallen for him on The Bachelorette, with his charming Southern accent, dimpled grin, and surprisingly philosophical takes on love. His later appearance on Bachelor in Paradise only cemented his image, the man who believed in second chances, who cried when he meant it, who never seemed to play games. But nothing on television could have prepared him for this moment. Jared stood by the ocean, barefoot in the sand, the same beach where his love story with Eden Monroe had begun 2 summers earlier. Waves lapped against the shore, but the rhythm no longer soothed him. Instead, they felt like reminders of time's cruel, unstoppable passing. Eden was gone. The woman he met under fairy lights and tequila-fueled toasts, who wore seashell anklets and danced barefoot in the rain, who made fun of how seriously he took his protein shakes, she was gone. And this time, there were no producers, no edits, no cliffhangers. Just silence. The beach where it began. Their love hadn't been obvious at first. Eden had arrived midway through the season, a wild card with a mischievous laugh and a piercing gaze that saw through everyone. Jared, who had just been dumped by fan favorite Kimberly in a dramatic rose ceremony twist, wasn't looking for anything serious. But Eden changed everything. They connected over a late-night conversation about grief. She had lost her brother to suicide, Jared his grandmother to cancer. They cried on a daybed under the stars, sharing things that had never made it to air. By the next morning, they were inseparable. Audiences fell in love with their slow-burn romance. By the reunion special, Eden and Jared were still together, still laughing, still defying the odds. They moved in together in Nashville. And for 2 years, Jared's Instagram was a collage of happiness: lazy Sunday mornings, dog park adventures, Eden's paintings, their candlelit dinners. Until 6 weeks ago. The accident. It was a Tuesday morning. Jared remembered it with agonizing clarity. Eden had kissed him goodbye on the way to her studio. She was working on a series for her first gallery show, abstract portraits titled Gravity and Grace. He hadn't said much. He was running late for a podcast interview, his mind already racing. They argued, lightly, about something trivial: groceries, whether or not they needed more oat milk. "I'll pick it up later," Eden said with a wink. She never came back. The truck driver fell asleep at the wheel, skidded through a red light. The impact crushed the driver's side. Eden died instantly. Off-camera grief. In the days after her death, Jared vanished from the public eye. No posts, no stories, no statements. Bachelor Nation speculated. Had they broken up? Was this a publicity stunt? It wasn't until 3 weeks later that Jared shared the truth in a raw, black-and-white video posted to Instagram. "I don't know how to do this," he began, voice cracking, "but I know Eden deserves to be remembered." He spoke through tears, not as the reality star with 1.2 million followers, but as a man who had lost his soulmate. The outpouring was immediate. Messages from fellow contestants, fans, strangers who had also lost loved ones. Eden's name trended for 2 days. A Bachelor Nation response. Producers reached out, asking if Jared wanted to do a tribute episode. He refused. "Eden wasn't a storyline," he said. "She was my real life." Instead, he began quietly organizing a charity in her name, the Eden Monroe Foundation, focused on supporting young female artists and providing grief counseling for families affected by road accidents. It became his anchor, his purpose. He met with Eden's family. They sobbed, they laughed, they shared old videos. And still, every night, Jared returned to the apartment they shared and felt the crushing absence. Her coffee mug on the shelf, her sandals by the door. Love wasn't supposed to end like this. The last painting. 2 weeks after the funeral, Eden's studio called. "There's something you need to see," her assistant, Molly, whispered. When Jared walked in, the space smelled of turpentine and roses. Her last painting stood on an easel, half covered with a cloth. It was titled Home. He pulled the sheet off and gasped. The painting was of them, him and Eden, on the beach in Sayulita, the exact moment she had said, "I think you're my forever," while drawing hearts in the sand. It wasn't hyper-realistic, but it captured their essence: the tilt of her head, the curve of his hand on her back. He broke down. It would later become the centerpiece of her gallery show, held posthumously. A letter left behind. Molly handed him a sealed envelope marked in Eden's handwriting. For Jared, just in case. He hesitated before opening it. "If you're reading this, something happened. I know that must sound terrifying, but I've always believed in being prepared for the what-ifs. Jared, loving you has been the greatest adventure of my life. You've made me laugh, challenged me, held me through my darkest days. I want you to live. I want you to keep painting with your words, start that book, travel, rescue another dog, even if we already have 3. And when you're ready, love again. But most of all, don't let grief dim your light. You are still the sun." He held the letter to his chest and sobbed. 1 year later. It took time. Therapy, long walks, screaming into pillows. But eventually, Jared began to smile again. He continued Eden's charity. He wrote a memoir, Paradise Lost, a Love Story. It hit the bestseller list within a week. Bachelor Nation rallied around him. During a Bachelor Gives Back special, a tribute video aired. Clips of Jared and Eden on the beach, laughing, kissing, her saying, "You're my miracle." By the end, the entire audience was crying. Jared gave a speech. "This isn't a sad story. It's a love story interrupted. But I believe Eden's watching, and I'm going to make her proud every day." Love again? 2 years after Eden's death, Jared met someone. It wasn't dramatic, no slow-mo glances or orchestral swells. It was quiet, gentle, healing. Her name was Harper, a librarian, kind eyes, laughed at his terrible jokes.
He told her everything about Eden, showed her the paintings, took her to Eden's favorite taco place. Harper didn't flinch. "I don't want to replace her," she said one night, "but I'd love to be part of your story too." They didn't announce anything. No big posts, no press interviews. Just small steps, and Eden's presence blessing each one. Still the sun. On the 3rd anniversary of Eden's death, Jared returned to the beach in Sayulita. He stood at the same spot where they first kissed, where their paradise had started. This time, Harper was by his side, holding his hand. They set a lantern afloat on the water, inscribed with Eden's words, "You are still the sun." As it drifted out into the horizon, Jared felt the warmth of the breeze, the salt of the sea, and the bittersweet echo of love lost and found. Eden was gone, yes, but her love had never left. It had simply changed forms. And now it lived on in every canvas, every wave, every sunrise. Because some love stories never end.